We are going live, so if you could just ensure that your side conversations are appropriate for live, that would be amazing. In a few minutes. I'm still setting up.
Yeah, you can't use those.
The meeting has come to order on April 16, 2026 at 7:07 PM in Mamel Hall 113. Chief of Staff Gomez, may we have roll call, please?
Regent Lysy,
Here.
VP Rod,
Here.
Manager PR Hammond. Coordinator Student Engagement Tashuya. Here. Coordinator Student Engagement SIP. Director of Integrity Rhodes. Here. Director of Leadership Development Wills.
Here.
Director of Marketing Eklund. Director of Recruitment Brody. Director of DEIA Stephens.
Here.
Senator Acosta. Senator Barrientos.
Here.
Senator Bishop.
Here.
Senator Clark.
Here.
Senator L5. Senator Hayden. Senator Adela Addison. Senator Issa.
Here.
Senator Jarman.
Here.
Senator Johnson Lillian.
Here.
Senator Johnson Kale.
Here.
Senator Lopez Pereira.
Here.
Perfect time.
Senator Melgar Serrano.
Here.
Senator Mitchell.
Here.
Senator McHugh.
Here.
Senator Piper.
Here.
Senator Potts.
Here.
Senator Shake. Senator Swift. Senator Tasneem. Senator Williams. Ambassador Perry. Ambassador Rodriguez.
Here.
Perfect. Quorum is present. We may begin. We'll begin with voting on the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the approval of the agenda and the approval of minutes from April 9, 2026. Are there any items a senator would like to remove for separate consideration? Senator Shake?
This is not related to that. I just wanted to make sure I was marked present because something was going. Sorry.
Sorry, are there any items a senator will like removed for separate consideration? Hearing none, the chair is seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda. Senator Piper, is there a second? Senator Jarman, is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The consent agenda has been approved. Our next item of business is guest speakers. We have people from the Healthcare Center. Please give them a round of applause.
Can everybody hear me okay? My name's Robbie Peets. I'm the Executive Director of the Primary Care Clinical Program at Nebraska Medicine and the Student Health Services Program across all of the universities. And with me is Katie Stratman, who is our Clinic Manager at UNO and UNMC for the student health operations. So thank you for having us. This is a very informal presentation, so please stop me at any point if you have questions. What we're hoping to go through today is to give you an overview of the health center in case you haven't had the opportunity to come yourself, to talk to you about what Nebraska Medicine's role is in the health center, to talk to you a little bit about our evaluation that we do every year for all of our clinical services, including student health, review the covered services that you all have that are covered currently with student fees, what is fee for service or paid through with insurance, and then talk to you about some changes to the covered services for this year. Next slide, please. To refresh your memory, these are the hours and days that the health center is currently operating on campus. Next slide. These are a review of the services that are provided at the health center. I'm not going to read them all to you, but think about your acute care services. You have a sore throat, you're having chest cold, you have different orthopedic injuries, your wrist, sprained your ankle, those types of things. Those are usually the main bulk of our business. There are some students that have what we call chronic care conditions that we're helping them with. We provide immunizations, different medications, etc. Next slide. Who's Nebraska Medicine and how do we fit into the equation of student health? So Nebraska Medicine is the provider of your student health. We manage your student health operations. Before, I believe it was 2019, the university was managing the student health services and brought Nebraska Medicine on board to be able to provide some comprehensive care, also support with billing insurance, those types of things. And so this is how Lincoln was the first one, and then UNMC has always had some support for student health services. So we like to think of it as a Nebraska Medicine clinic that is on UNO campus, serves students, faculty, and staff. We don't have folks from the public coming in outside of that. We do collect a management fee that is paid quarterly. And then we also have a contract structure where we understand what your covered services are, what is covered by the fees that you pay for health center services. And then we have the portion that we call fee for service where we bill insurance. Next. So I just want to review the cost of care. I alluded to it already, but from the university standpoint, the student fees are going to cover certain services. This is a conversation that happens between the university and Nebraska Medicine and with your student leadership team when we started way back when. What do the students need? What are the most important things for you all when it comes to receiving healthcare on campus? How much does the university collect in fees that have to be dispersed, of course, among all the different student services? And then the other component of the university is the health insurance that the university provides. Some of you may be on your own insurance, your parents' insurance, or you may be on the university insurance plan. So that is provided by the university, and any service that you will have in the health center is covered at 100%. If we were also to send you, let's say, for a procedure at one of our other locations, either main campus or down at Bellevue Medical Center, for example, those are also sites of care tied to the student health center. So for student health insurance, those services are covered as well. From the Nebraska Medicine standpoint, we facilitate billing insurance for any of the services that are not those covered services by your fees. And the remaining balance will either be billed to the policyholder, whether that's you, the student, your parents, or whoever that guarantor is on your policy, for what insurance doesn't cover. Nebraska Medicine also provides payment plans. We have a robust financial assistance program to help people that may not have insurance coverage or still have some out-of-pocket costs after insurance is billed. Next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about the current state of student fee covered services. This is on the website. You can all refer to it there. I don't want to read everything to you, but it's an unlimited number of visits with the medical provider, and medical provider is family medicine provider. So if any of you have seen Star or Ronnie, any of the providers that are over there, we also have some coverage providers. Also, we do health clearance for campus rec, provide flu shots at no cost, provider ordered wellness profiles, which are those blood tests that you can see there. We also order the STD testing that is listed there for you. That is actually supported by a grant. So we're able to use some of those grant dollars to offset those costs. And then the initial intake with psychiatry. We also have, so we have our family medicine providers, Star and Ronnie, and then we have our psychiatrists who also provide those services. So that's different than family medicine. Any questions about that so far? I'm kind of rocking. Okay. Next slide. So what we do every year with all of my primary care locations, all of the student health services, is we do an operational evaluation. We share this information not only with our medical director and our team, but also with Kathy Pettit. So that way we are making sure that we are good stewards of the resources that we have, that we're meeting students' needs, et cetera. You can see the evaluation process here. This year, we had the opportunity to have a little bit more involvement with your leadership team, which has been really great to just get a sense of, you know, what students need, how we can help, how's it going from our standpoint, and share some feedback, vice versa. So these are the evaluations that happen every year, not only at Student Health. Next slide. What I want to draw your attention to here with this data, we make very data-driven decisions along with consulting with your student leadership, government leadership team and Kathy. So what we noticed with those medical visits with that family medicine provider, Star or Ronnie, is that we have seen thus far in this fiscal year from July to date in April, we have seen 1,098 students at the health center. So that is what is labeled unique patients. What you see there for the utilization data is 726 of those patients have come to us for one visit, 218 have come for 2 visits, and so on. So you can see just how many times an individual student might be accessing the health center for whatever reason in that family medicine portion. Next slide. What we are going to change with covered services and why that family medicine data is relevant is currently there's an unlimited number of covered visits with that family medicine provider for an academic year. We are going to now change that to 5 covered visits per academic year. And what does that mean? Most importantly, there's that statement on the bottom. You can come and see us as much as you want. That doesn't mean you have 5 visits and then you're done and we're not going to take care of you. You can see us as many times as necessary. For visit 6 and beyond, we are going to charge your insurance or the student themselves if they don't have insurance, support them with financial aid programs, etc. What I want you to remember is on the current slide, that accounted for a couple patients that have seen the health center beyond 5 visits. And what I think is important there is this change is not only not limiting access, but is not going to affect the largest portion of the student body that comes to access care with us. So my hope is by making this change, we are being good financial stewards of the resources that Nebraska Medicine has, that UNO has, but also continuing to provide appropriate care and covered services for the students. Questions about that?
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry. How much are you going to charge for like the additional visits?
So that will be subject to how the insurance pays and the individual plan. So if you can imagine, if I have Blue Cross Blue Shield and I have a high deductible plan, then everything, let's say up to my deductible, about $5,000, let's say, is going to be billed to the insurance until that deductible is hit, and then that changes. Or some insurances will have a copay, and so that copay will be required, and then there's a bill. So it's hard for me to answer that directly because I don't know the individual insurance plans. But does that answer your question?
Can I clarify my question?
Yes.
Just because like the UNO, like student insurance that you're talking about, it only covers like international students, athletes, and the graduate assistants. It does not cover like the majority of the population. So I'm talking about like a student without insurance. Those may be the people that are utilizing it for those multiple visits you're seeing. So what is the cash price for if they go beyond the fifth visit?
I don't have that price off the top of my
I
head.
do. A regular office visit is about $250. However, we offer a self-pay discount for uninsured patients already of 35%. And Nebraska Medicine approves up to 100% financial assistance for those who qualify. So it's just who is paying, I guess, the bulk of it. I did run some data on the folks who are using the health center the most beyond 6 visits. Predominantly, 15 out of 16 was the student insurance policy. So it is mostly going to be student insurance holders that are repeat coming to the health center. Which makes sense, right? If you're on that policy, this is probably your primary care. So
Kind of with that, you had mentioned that there are certain students that have like chronic conditions that come in. Are they on like the student's health plan? Would that include them or like?
student insurance is one of our biggest payers. So a lot of our students who come to the student health center more than 6 times, they almost all had student insurance. But I would have to look specifically at the data about that. Can you say your question again?
I guess like if a student does have a chronic illness, is that going to be taken into account in pricing or are they gonna be priced?
I would suggest strongly that someone with a chronic illness, if they're uninsured or underinsured, apply for financial assistance. Based on income, it's based on income level. So like I said, they approve up to 100% based on your income level. But a lot of college students would qualify for financial assistance because you all are in school, you're not having a bunch of income. So typically that would be it.
If we could use our mics as well, that'd be amazing.
We
We
don't have
we
it.
don't have microphones.
There's a mic.
What need, oh, not on. What need, still, okay.
Okay. What made you decide to set a cash price at $200?
It's not sorry, that was confusing. So it's based on the level of service. So just if you happen to have seen us before, that is how much like a regular office visit costs. But it's like, it runs a large scale. It's based on your needs at the appointment. So like a physical might not cost the same as an office visit, might not cost the same as a nurse visit. See what I'm saying? So sorry, this is probably too complex for this
No, I
discussion.
understand medical terms.
Okay, perfect.
But for $200, that seems higher than normal for a typical office visit
So.
for a cash price.
So that's for a cash price. Again, I'm highly recommending that folks would seek financial assistance that can approve up to 100% of that. So the student would pay nothing, depending on how they qualify. But our office visits are standard, not more or less than the rest of Omaha competitors, CHI, that kind of thing. That's a standard.
Other question?
Just on the graph, the utilization data, that was just for the fiscal year, the 2025-2026. Okay, sounds good. And then, I don't know if you said you were looking at the data, did you see like a change in utilization rates, like noticeable over like the past like 5 years, or has there been any trends that have been noticeable or just?
So we've pulled that same data since we kind of started this conversation back in 2023, and it's always 1% is 6% or more, or 6 visits or more. So that number is basically never changing as far as how many people come. It's 6 or more is usually about 1%.
Awesome, thanks.
Yes.
Microphone.
Is there any like particular exterior reason besides just wanting to be more financially, I guess, responsible that you would put it to a 5 office visit max?
That's a good question because it's not all about the money. Also, the money is relevant. So as you all know, the cost of healthcare itself is increasing, which includes the cost of supplies, paying staff, the cost of medications, et cetera. So the way that the management agreement is structured, Nebraska Medicine receives a flat rate year over year to manage the health center and cover overhead costs and other items. So if you can imagine the cost of healthcare going this way, and Nebraska Medicine doesn't see those student fees that goes to the university. So for those 5 visits, Nebraska Medicine does not receive any revenue, which is fine. This is not a money-making business. Neither is primary care, by the way. We want to make sure that we're giving access to folks to be able to get the care that they need. And this is certainly part of our mission with university partners. So UNL, for example, also has a 5 visit limit. And as UNK comes on in July, that is also what we're recommending. So we're trying to be standard as best we can across the different campuses. And then also to make sure that while we manage our operations, we believe in the best way that we can. We also need to take good care of our employees, make sure we have the appropriate supplies. So that is a lot of the reason, both the standardization in the university systems and then also our costs. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you said only like 1% is that 6 visits or more, and that most of those students have the student insurance. So I guess I'm just not understanding the point of capping it at that 5 visits if it doesn't really make a difference. Like if most of those students are still
Will
not
bill their
paying.
insurance company. So
Okay.
the patient will probably not notice a difference at all most of the time, but we would bill United Healthcare for the
Okay.
cost of the service. Right now, we don't bill United Healthcare for visits at all. Unless it's a physical or one of those things that was not listed as covered. So this would allow us to bill the insurance company and get back some of that cost.
And I think tell me if I'm following you here. Are we gonna get that much more revenue for visit 6 and beyond from such a small number? Is that where you're going?
Yeah, I guess it was just
Yep.
worried that like now that I'm understanding a little more that the insurance is what's gonna be paying it, I don't really care about that as much because they should be paying that. Screw insurance.
They should, you're right. But again, I don't want to, as a partner of the university, come in and be aggressive and say, you get 2 covered visits and that's it. Your student fees may go up. And so your parents and you all are gonna come to me and say, but my fees are going up, but my covered services are going down, right? Let's just call it that doesn't make any sense. So again, trying to be consistent with across the campuses and not being aggressive with those covered services. Yes.
So you said 5 out of the 16 of their have the student health and
15 out of 16.
15 out of 16. Okay, have the student. Okay, only 1 does not. So what if you just write off like for anything that you bill to the insurance? Why don't you just write off the one, make it in so then you can like add a policy where you can then write off the 1 student?
That is how we do operate when financial assistance is applied. Yes.
This is kind of like you kind of explained it already. But what are your thoughts kind of on having like it optional for students to kind of like opt out of their 5 sessions? So like for me, for instance, I've never utilized this. So I've never used my 5 sessions, but having like students be able to kind of like opt out and then have like a pool of extra like uses? Like, what are your thoughts on something along those lines?
I'm always open to having any of those creative conversations. I think that ultimately remembering that we are your agent. UNO has hired Nebraska Medicine to provide the services that the university wants us to provide. So that would be where a suggestion such as this from the university could come, and let's talk about that and what are the pros and cons, what are the risk benefits, all of those. And then my favorite part is how do we operationalize it? So that way we make sure, for example, in your case, how do I tell my medical record system how to apply that logic so somebody doesn't get billed, for example, because it's not perfect. But I'm always happy to have conversations about that.
So you had talked like a little bit about like the number of times people are visiting. What is changing? Is there anything changing that has to do with like the services that are being provided?
No, nothing is changing. The access will remain the same. The services that we provide will always be the same. Yes.
You had mentioned and we had talked about the form for like financial aid. Could you like possibly like talk a little bit about that more? So
So you can apply for financial assistance through your OneChart patient portal. Or if you want to meet with a financial counselor, they can do that in person at one of the campuses. We don't unfortunately have a financial assistance person in the clinic because we're very, very small and they are mostly housed at like hospital size. But you can make an appointment with them online, either virtual or phone, to discuss your options, or you can go ahead and start the process through either our website or through the OneChart patient portal. We also are starting this new thing with the Medicaid changes that are coming next month to try to get more folks in touch with financial assistance sooner, in case they might be losing their coverage or the changes with the coverage. So we're working on a method for the receptionist. If you walk into the clinic, the receptionist can go ahead and schedule you an appointment with a financial counselor. So we're working on lots of ways to get in touch with them. So,
and they're going to ask for some income data, tax returns, if you have them, those types of things, just like any financial aid application. And in addition to financial aid, the other option, which I've utilized myself, is payment plans. So you don't have to go through the application process necessarily, but if you got a large bill from a procedure, let's say, then they will, our financial team will set that in payments over a period of time. So it's not a financial hardship at all.
To go to your point about, I guess, like changes for Medicaid, could you elaborate on that at all? Or
We can try.
We can try. So DHHS Nebraska is requiring proof of work somehow. I think it's 80 hours per month is what they're requiring. Some people will not have to do that. There's reasons that you would not work 80 hours a month. But this is a DHHS rule that we unfortunately have no part of it. But they do have a lot of information on the Medicaid website about what's changing.
So this is a big deal to our health system, not only to students. So without boring you with a ton of details, this is particularly for the patients that are covered as a result of expanding Medicaid in 2019. So that's the group that we're supporting through this. And Nebraska is the first state in the union to move forward with these changes. And there's a lot that DHHS federally does not know. There's a lot that our state hasn't decided yet. So the most up-to-date information, like Katie shared, was on the website, and I'm happy to send you all the resources that we have for all of our patients across Nebraska Medicine. We do have a robust financial counseling team. Our senior leaders are very invested in this. We want people to be able to remain on Medicaid and understand how they need to do that, because it's a pretty rigorous process. And so we do have lots of resources, like Katie mentioned, both virtually over the phone. So yeah.
if you could, Yeah, if you could send that, that'd be appreciated.
Sure,
Thank you.
I'll send it to you guys to include with minutes, sure. Yes.
This is my last question. So say like in 2 to 3 years, we see like a spike at those like 4, 5, 6+ visits. Is it possible like in, that time span and, 3 to whenever that spike happens, we're kind of seeing like a consistent spike. Is it possible to kind of like reevaluate the 5 visit and then come back to like, okay, maybe we should push it out to 7 or 8 that are fully covered? And then, kind of reevaluate if it goes back down or if there's another spike, kind of what does that process look like?
Yeah, I think any reasonable questions and evaluation of data should happen. This is going to be happening as it already occurs. I meet with like Kathy's peers at the other universities. I meet with student government at the other universities. And because UNK is coming on board, we are actually, as the healthcare provider, required to provide regular updates that we're already doing. And we are talking through what the best way to do that would be, both for the individual institutional data like this. So I think by having those consistent across, then we're going to absolutely be able to talk about trends and talk about what covered services look like, what are your student fees look like, what are my expenses looking like, and that's a transparent conversation. So yeah, that's just who we are and what's built in. So I'm always happy to reconsider where we're at. Other questions? I appreciate your engagement and your questions. Katie and I are also available by email that you can get from your team if anything else comes up. All right. Thank you.
Can we give them a round of applause again, please? And then if you would like to leave, it's up to you. If you want to stay and watch all of us, you are more than welcome to do that.
Take off, not because I just feel so underdressed. Oh, great.
Next up, Regent Lacey will deliver the State of the SG address.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm honored to welcome you tonight. We're not just here to mark another moment on the calendar. We're here to celebrate the work, service, and leadership that define student government and this campus. Your presence tonight reflects a shared commitment to our community, to each other, and the values that guide everything we do. Tonight is about more than tradition or formality. It's about reflection, accountability, and purpose. It's a chance to look back on a year defined by action, collaboration, and impact. We faced many challenges, adapted to change, and leaned into our responsibility to serve, not for recognition, but because when students lead with intention, campuses thrive. At the heart of everything we do is the mission of the Student Government Association. SGA exists to make the student experience better, plain and simple. We are the official voice of the student body, and that means students better understand where they're, that means representing, empowering, and serving every maverick on this campus. This past semester, we didn't just talk about engagement, we delivered it. Over the last few months, SGA hosted Unity Week, bringing students and organizations and campus partners together to celebrate inclusion and connection. We also held the Student Fees Fair, increasing transparency on helping students better understand where their money goes and how it directly supports campus life. Earlier tonight, we gathered for one of our more signature moments of the year, the annual SGA Gala, planned and executed by our amazing outreach committee. If you haven't already, let's give them another round of applause for their hard work. Events like that don't just happen. They represent hours of coordination, creativity, and collaboration, and they showcase the professionalism and passion of our student leaders. Our agencies continue to be the heartbeat of student advocacy on this campus. This semester, the Women and Gender Equity Center hosted their annual Take Back the Night, amplifying survivor voices and reinforcing the commitment to education, safety, and advocacy. The Network for Disability Awareness led Make a Blanket Day, bringing community together through service and care. And looking ahead, Queer and Trans Services will be hosting a Queer Ed Sex Night, continuing their work to provide affirming educational spaces for all students. These events are more than just programs. They are proof that when students are given trust and support, they create spaces that truly matter. This semester was also marked by some meaningful progress. We passed a number of resolutions that reflect both student voices and tangible actions, including hammocks on campus to promote wellness and shared green spaces, organizing a peace walk to reinforce dialogue and unity, and completing a full update to the SGA bylaws to ensure our governing documents reflect who we are now and where we are headed. Transparency and physical responsibility Transparency and physical responsibility continue to be central to our work. Tonight, our Chief of Staff, Gio Gomez, will deliver the state of SGA finances, outlining how student fees have been stewarded responsibly and how those investments translate directly into opportunities, programs, and service for students. As we look forward, we do so with pride and purpose. Tomorrow marks an important transition as we swear in the next student body president and student regent, someone I have the pleasure of calling one of my best friends, Aditi Rai. This moment represents both continuity and growth. Leadership transition remind us that SGA is bigger than any one individual. It is a living organization shaped by those willing to step up and serve. As I reflect on this semester and look ahead, I return to the theme for the last State of the SGA address I gave in November, unified through action. Unity isn't passive. It is something we create by showing up, listening, and choosing to act together, even when it is difficult. I want to extend my sincere thanks to every senator, agency director, leader, committee member, justice, commissioner, ambassador. Your dedication and leadership this semester have made a real impact on our campus. I also want to take a moment to thank our advisor, Coach K. Sorry, you moved all of a sudden. In just this year with SGA, he has made an extraordinary impact on this organization. He has consistently gone above and beyond to support student leaders, offering honest guidance, encouragement, and a steady presence. Whether through late nights, tough conversations, or moments of uncertainty, he has always shown up because he truly believes in students and their ability to lead. His mentorship has brought him stability, trust, and heart to this organization, and we are all better leaders because of him. Please join me in giving Coach K a well-deserved round of applause. And to show Coach K just how grateful I am for his dedication to student government and to every student leader in this room, I am proud to share that I have written and will sign into effect Executive Memorandum 13, Advisor Recognition and Student Leadership Support. Officially, I'm gonna try not to cry, recognizing his service, leadership, and lasting impact on this campus. Thank you, Colby. And last but not least, to the students we serve, thank you for trusting us, challenging us, and walking alongside us. Let's keep showing up, let's keep building, and let's continue leading this campus forward because at the end of the day, we are all one UNO.
Chief of Staff Gomez, can we please have the state of the budget address?
Good evening, everyone. As Regent Lacey mentioned, I will be giving the state of the budget address in place of our Director of Finance. Last fall, there were conversations about whether agencies would be able to fully use their budgets in a meaningful way before the end of the year. This semester, it was great to see agencies put that funding toward well-planned, impactful events and really make use of the resources available to them. In the spring, we saw a significant increase in spending from student government and its agencies. And more importantly, that funding was put toward events that directly engaged and benefited students. Across our agencies, we saw a wide range of programming. AMS hosted events such as AAPI Crafts and Boba, which brought in 96 attendees, their Make a Flower event, and their Black History Month Lunch and Learn. WGEC hosted Take Back the Night with 57 attendees, along with their Awareness to Action event with FGSA. ISS held its international banquet, which brought in 127 attendees, as well as its henna tattoo cultural art experience. NDA hosted hot chocolate and board games with 62 attendees, and Make a Blanket Day with 41 attendees. FGSA hosted an awareness to action event with WGEC, and QTS hosted Queer Prom with 64 attendees, along with their Great Deception April Fool's Cabaret. In addition to agency programming, student government supported events including the Student Fees Fair, the Nonprofit Fair, Unity Week, the LinkedIn Career Readiness Event, the Peace Walk, and the FYLC Throwback Field Day. Altogether, these events reached hundreds of students this semester, which is exactly what these funds are intended to support. Following the trend of increased spending, we also saw an increased activity in the number of purchase requests. This semester, the Budget Committee reviewed 68 requests, which is a 51% increase from the fall semester. I want to thank the Budget Committee and Colby for their work in reviewing these requests and ensuring funds are allocated thoughtfully. I also want to recognize our agencies and SGA for their effort in planning and executing these events. Overall, this semester reflects strong engagement and a clear commitment to using student fees that benefit the student body. Thank you.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Next up is open forum. Guests will have up to 10 minutes to address the Senate with any concerns, whether or not they appear on the agenda. Senators may also speak on topics not included in the agenda. However, please reserve comments related to listed agenda items for their scheduled discussion. The floor is now open.
Hi, me again. I'll be quick. So as you all know, we have the resolution tonight of the opposition of the SLI policy. I just want to let you know that I am here. If you have any questions, Ella Terwilliger, one of our wonderful board members, is who wrote and put together that resolution. She did a fantastic job. And so of course your questions as senators will be to her as she is the proponent, but I also wanted to let you know that I am here if you have questions, and I'm also willing to stick around and answer any questions afterwards, or I can have my email open and you can email me, whatever. I also have some Plan B fact sheets. I thought this might be helpful. I'm a very visual person, and so if you all want one of these, you can either raise your hand and I can come hand it to you, or I can just leave some of them there. But yeah, I think that was all I had. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's Shaven again. Coming. Sorry, I thought I did that. Coming just to let you guys know, like the conversation I had with the University of Nebraska Foundation earlier today. I had like 50 bullet points of what we all talked about for half an hour. Overall, just to kind of like reiterate something that was mentioned last week or week prior, because the days have gotten mixed up at this point. Fund A specifically, the way that Brian, what he had told me specifically is that it is the foundation endowment and they are the legal owner. And Fund N is the assets that are held within the university directly. That's like the university's endowment. Both are donated funds, so nothing from students are going into that at all. They said the number that he gave me specifically was 99.2% are specifically donated funds from donors. The state and the university can't touch what is in the funds. That is something that is directed by the donors, and the foundation does what the donors want on their behalf. They're guided by the fiduciary duties, managing the money on behalf of others. They provide the greatest support to the universities, and they have like an explicit promise of, we're not going to tell them exactly what to do, but we're going to give you advice and say, here's what we recommend based off of our data that we had. The board of directors is the person who's over the foundation. They're elected by the population of the trustees. The governing body of the foundation, the board of directors is the governing body of the foundation, and they also delegate the investments to a specific committee. underneath the committee is Brian Naeli. There's external consultants for the day-to-day, and the board and committee are like the policy side, whereas the staff members are like who is implementing it. And this is for all Fund A, or the foundation's endowment, and that's different than Fund N. And the foundation gives recommendations to the university management of investments related to Fund A. They gave me a specific term. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to fully pronounce it. It's like an author talk group is what they had said. That is the type of people who are responsible for the Fund N portfolio. Main thing that they wanted me to bring to Senate is that they're interested in having the conversation with students and just learning more about investments, learning more about the foundation, learning more about possibility of the review committee that got passed last Senate meeting to come forth. But they wanted me to tell Senate that we have to look at the two different, because there's two different audiences. There's going to be the Fund A is for the foundation, and the Fund N is the university endowment, which is the board of directors that are board of regents. So he was recommending that we kind of think about like who our audience is when we're starting to have another discussion about it, and who going forward is going to talk more about that resolution and having that committee created. So just want to come up to Senate. I have some of the notes are probably a little bit incoherent, but if you're interested in what I received from the conversation, send it to you guys. If you have any other questions, you can let me know. So thank you.
Hi guys. I'm gonna try not to cry during this. I just wanted to make a statement and just say like thank you guys. Obviously, I know all of you guys probably know this is my last Senate meeting forever. It's so sad. But I think the Senate did a really good job this year with everything that you guys have done. And I wanted to thank you guys for obviously your guys' work, as well as kind of just helping me at times to yap and everything. But yeah, bittersweet moment for me, but I just wanted to say thank you guys because I did not want to hold you guys at the end to say this little stupid speech. But yes, so thank you guys so much for everything and of giving me like a great a great good year to kind of end everything. So thank you guys.
Are there any additional guest speakers? If there is none, open forum for this Senate has now closed. Next up, we'll move on to reports from officers and executive committee. Regent Lacey, may we have your report, please?
Yes. So I think like this week, just kind of been working on my transition documents. I do still have like an additional week as I sit on the Board of Regents meeting next week. Student body president and student regent-elect Rye will be attending some meetings with me through next week to kind of get her ready for to fulfill her role. Had some conversations with some different individuals about a testing center on campus. This is heavily being pushed by Faculty Senate. They want, just to be like fully transparent, Faculty Senate is pushing for a testing center on campus where all quizzes, exams, anything of that sort, midterms, finals would be taken at this testing center. There is, I can see by some of your expression, you're kind of like, huh, that's weird. So I have elevated a lot of concerns with that. One is that they would definitely probably want to fund that through student fees, which would mean that your student fees would go up. That's not something that I necessarily support, is student fees going up. Something else is thinking about, you know, some of our students who maybe take online classes or work full-time, part-time. It's difficult to take off time for work to, you know, come and take an exam at a testing center in person. So that's kind of like another reason. I'm also thinking about like other students who maybe don't like reside close to a testing center, thinking about, students maybe live in rural communities, or, maybe they live in, a huge city, something like that. They have to, again, take off additional time to go to a testing center to take their exams, quizzes, um, midterms, stuff like that. So I raised a lot of those concerns. Faculty Senate hasn't reached out to any, to my knowledge, has not reached out to me or DT or anyone in the executive committee. They've reached out to you. Great. Please, feel free to, tackle that on, or feel free to tackle that. But that is some conversations we're having, is that Faculty Senate's really pushing that. So we're kind of getting into that conversation. Happy to talk more about that. After the meeting, if you have questions, concerns, please feel free to grab a DT and I, and, we can kind of walk you through some other things with that. The other thing is the prep week policy. So for the past semester, we've been working on a resolution for the prep week policy to provide further transparency to students, and kind of send a reminder to faculty and professors. We've heard some concerns from students that they are learning a lot of new content during prep week. They are taking pretty large exams during their prep week. The concerns that we've heard is that, like, students feel that the prep week should be designated for what it's for, which is to prep you for your final exams. So we're working with the Academic Affairs Office on that policy. Also, we have sent a draft of the resolution to Faculty Senate. We got some feedback from the Faculty Senate executives, and then they said that they would take it to their full Faculty Senate. We have not heard anything, so that's why it's on the agenda tonight. But that is something that, looking into, the next year, part of the transition, that I think a DT will kind of work on. And then I think just like another major update is, I think, from what I saw, is like the budget for this next fiscal year passed in the legislature from what was originally proposed, and the governor didn't veto any line items or anything. So I don't really know what that means for the future of budget cuts at the university, but I think it's relatively safe to say that at least it passed. So does anyone have any questions about anything?
Senator Jarman.
So UNO already has a testing center, so I'm kind of confused why they're wanting to either make a new one or change the purpose of the testing center that already exists.
Yeah, so again, I'm hearing this. So the Faculty Senate hasn't reached out, and I haven't seen what they're specifically pushing for. But what I am hearing from the people that Faculty Senate is talking to is that they want to expand the testing center, whether that is in the current space it exists or in a new additional space. But they want it more heavily staffed, and they want to make it more mandatory for your midterms, final exams, stuff like that to be taken in that, regardless if you are on campus, online, for all those classes. They're trying to push for that.
Senator McHugh.
I know what. Okay, these microphones today. I know what some other colleges do is they have the secretary, they have the assistants in the room proctoring the exams, so the professor doesn't have to proctor the exams. Are the professors not wanting to proctor their own exams?
Again, I can't speak to what the professors are exactly saying. I think another argument is that there is already space designated for those exams. You carved out, if you're taking an in-person class, you carved out, maybe it's 9:15 to 10:30 on a Wednesday morning to take that, that works for your schedule. So there's already a space being provided. There's already a classroom. The professor can proctor the exam. All of that's already being provided. So to have an additional resource and use student fees or however they would like to pay for that to expand that, I just think is kind of an interesting way to kind of go about doing that. Did that answer your question or no?
Well, okay, I teach at Metro, and my least favorite thing to do is proctor. That's just why I asked.
Yeah, so again, I can't speak to what exactly professors are saying, but I think as this conversation kind of builds, and I hope that Faculty Senate looks into bringing student government or at least some student input from it, I think, that is again, some concerns that can be relayed to them or, a pro to from like the student perspective as well. Just I'm kind of giving you guys like the courtesy of this is a conversation that is happening on campus. There's a proposed push for something that we have not been involved yet, but we will eventually be involved. That's kind of where we are.
Are there any additional questions for Regent Lacey? Senator Lopez Pereira?
This question. Okay, this question, I don't know how to really ask, but I was wondering if we can move to an executive session. I don't know if I'm as senator allowed to, but
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a motion?
yeah, I'd like to motion in an executive session.
Is there a second, Senator Johnson? Is there any discussion? Senator Piper?
Um, I I'm not opposed to moving to an executive session. Can I just I guess get more clarification on the reasoning that you're wanting to?
Trying to say it the best way I can, but it's about a topic that we discussed during executive session that I'm not allowed to speak outside of executive session.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of moving into executive session, please raise your placard. 16. All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. 1601, the motion has passed. All members of the public, if you could just wait outside for us, that would be amazing. I will be turning off the Zoom, or I'll be putting us on mute. Give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Regent Lacey, was that the end of your report? Perfect. For my report, I am currently I have finished the transition documents. I'll be working with VP-elect Brody just to get her settled. We do have a meetings scheduled for next week, so that will be all done. All resolutions up to this point have been uploaded, as well as all agenda and minutes. If something is missing, please do let me know. And I just want to say thank you so much for all your work. You guys have made my time a lot easier. At the end of this meeting, please take your placards and table tents home. Perfect. Chief of Staff Gomez.
So I am finishing up my transition documents and I will be reaching out to the new chief of staff to have our transition meeting. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of get them ready for reviewing budget and stuff like that, as we do not have a director of finance and all that other stuff. Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it to the gala. I'm really sad I couldn't make it. I know, I'm really sad, and especially because it's also my last year as well. I'm graduating. Kyra almost made me cry. She's not here, but yeah, I'm gonna miss the SGA. I've been here for a while, but I trust that it's gonna be in good hands for those of you who are returning, and then for those of you who are not, why not? Why did you not come back? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I wish you guys all the best of luck with everything that you guys have moving forward. Please feel free, if you guys need anything from me, to reach out. I'll always be there if you guys need anything from me. So thank you.
Director Steppens, may we have your report, please?
Okay, so I have been kind of just the same thing, transition documents wrapping up, although I don't know who my successor will be. So I guess we'll find out. I have also been doing performance reviews for all of our agency directors. As you know, we did those at the end of last semester and reported on them. I didn't plan on reporting them to you guys, but I am more than happy to do that. If you want to go into executive session, we can run through them really quick. I will say I'm sad because a lot of our agency directors are graduating and leaving, so including Lauren. But I am going to miss them. Overall, the agency directors have done a pretty good job. So, is there anything else I did? No. Okay, that's it. Let me know if you want to go into those. We can go into executive session. So,
Are there any questions for Director Steppens? Perfect. Director Rhodes.
Basically did some more Robert's Rule of Order stuff about open meetings, finished up my transition docs, and I met with the QTS board member about some bylaw changes that they had questions about, and the WGC members as well for bylaw changes. So
Director Hills, may we have your report, please?
Yes, so I've also uploaded my transition documents, so the next person will have some things to go on for curriculum and people to reach out to for FLC and their meetings, which we had the last of last Thursday. So yeah, just excited to see who takes on this role in the next commission, and even the people in this commission, how they continue with SGA and so forth.
Are there any questions for Director Hills? Thank you. Director Eklund.
Yeah, I just was working on the gala this week. I also was posting a few things just to recap and stuff from last week. Yeah, and just getting some odds and ends for the gala. That's all I've been doing.
Are there any questions for Director Eklund? Thank you. Director Brody.
I finished up my transition document as well, and then did some work for the gala. And then I also recruited my last individual for the Student Publications Board, so she'll go in front of the chancellor alongside one other to be appointed.
Are there any questions for Director Brody? Thank you. Manager Hammond.
Hello. Okay, gorgeous. Yeah, just the past week I've just been working on the minutes from last week as well as the gala. Thank you for everyone that came. And then just now currently those who were not at the gala that won an award, I am emailing them to figure out the best way to deliver them their award. So yeah.
Are there any questions for Manager Hammond? Thank you. Coordinator Tushia, may we have your report, please?
Uh, Hello.
You're good.
Thanks for coming. If someone come for the LinkedIn event too, I just was the first my events for it. Then I feel uh like it is making for events. So, for as a coordinators, I think like might make for the next event, next steps, or like if you're interested for coordinators, as I would make for the timeline for the making events, because there's a some like a spring vacation for the kind of like a double booking or something like that. So um for making for next step or making for timeline, that is my next step.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Coordinator Tushia? Thank you. Next up, Chair Barrientos, may we have your, oh my gosh. May we have your report, please?
Nothing to report. I just want to say thank you. I know second semester was a little bit more hectic than first semester for budget committee. Also thanks Ellery. I think she's the only one that's an OG budget committee member. So me and her lasted throughout the whole year. Other than that, thank you to Gio, obviously, DOF. I know Brooklyn had some things she had to take care of. Other than that, just thank you for everyone who was in the process. So yep.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Chair Barrientos? Thank you. Chair Johnson, may we have your report, please?
Hello. Okay. Last Friday, I want to say, me and a couple committee members met with the volunteer and civic engagement programs, because they are hoping to get more collaboration with student government going into next year. They told us about some of the programs they put on and the resources they use and such. And I forgot my notes at home, so please don't ask me any questions, but shoot me an email if you have them. And other than that, nothing else. I guess thanks for the award. We we certainly deserved.
I know she asked for no questions, but are there any questions for Chair Johnson? Thank you. Chair Piper?
Hello. So, DEIA committee, this happened obviously like a while ago at this point, but we have done our nonprofit fair. We had a pretty decent turnout. We had 56 students that were at least signed in. So that was really nice. We heard a lot of good feedback about people saying that they really did enjoy it. This was on students' ends as well as nonprofits ends. So that was really nice to hear. I want to say a special thank you to my DEIA committee. You guys worked really hard with sending emails, being consistent with the profits who may not be as consistent, but that is okay. And I am working on, I know we don't do like transitioning documents, but I'm going to do a document with just a list of nonprofits that we've worked with this year and last year, that people can, if this stays alive, people can easily have contact information, numbers, emails of organizations. So that is kind of my report.
Are there any questions for Chair Piper? Thank you. Chair Acosta?
Looking at me. Thank you.
Okay, we had a successful student fee fair on the 27th of March. So thanks to VP Ryan, members of the committee who helped organize that. And then today was the gala, which went awesome. So thank you to everybody who came. General congrats to all of SGA for a year well done.
Are there any questions for Chair Costa? Thank you. Chair Shake.
Hello, everyone. Nothing much to be reported as usual. We did our biggest thing last week with updating or getting those updates for the bylaws passed through Senate. Want to thank my committee members, of course. It was a lot of work to do, but with my committee, of course, it was easier. And with Colby's help, of course, I did send my final communication yesterday to agency directors that they can always reach out to me if they have any questions about the changes we made, and that the next year rules committee will work with them to update their own governing documents so they don't have to do it themselves. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys.
Are there any questions for Chair Shake? Thank you. Coach K, can we have your report?
Yes, so as was discussed earlier, the agencies in student government have had a significant increase in spending this semester. And so as a result, it's a good problem to have, but there's a lot of paperwork on my desk and a lot more to go for the documentation purposes. And so that is, I'm thrilled that the budget committee and GEO has been able to work through those requests. Very important use of student fees there. And so with the 26-27 election concluded, I have had the great privilege of planning the executive ticket swearing in ceremony that would be tomorrow. And so I will share a message for the events of tonight, and then also kind of a snippet of some remarks for tomorrow. So I thank the Senate for your trust in me this year, and what a joy it has been to work with all of you. I am honored to have received the Dale Weber Student Service Award, and thank Manager Hammond for her remarks earlier tonight, and Regent Lacey for his executive memorandum of appreciation. So to the outgoing officers, I want to express my sincere appreciation. Serving in student government requires more than attending meetings or casting votes. It requires individuals who willingly give of themselves in service of others. You have given your time, your energy, and your passion to represent the voice of your peers. Much of that work happens quietly. It occurs during the night while preparing reports, responding to student concerns, reviewing lots of policy language. The rules chair certainly knows that. And working through complex decisions. And so many people may never have seen some of the efforts directly, yet the impact of all your work this year really has strengthened the university community in meaningful ways. And so I thank you all for that.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Advisor Brock? Sorry. With that, we are now done for reports for this year. Yay. Yeah. Our next item of business is unfinished business. As there is no unfinished business, we are moving on to new business. First up is SR 25, 26, 29, support for revisions to the policy index. Is there a proponent speech?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I rise in support of SR 25, 26, 29, or 029, support for revisions to the policy index. This resolution represents the follow through on the bylaw work we passed last week, making sure that what was approved or what we approved actually translates into clear, consistent policy. This is just about aligning our agencies with the structure that promotes accountability, transparency, and long-term stability. These updates clarify expectations, whether it's financial oversight, reporting responsibilities, or leadership structure, so that every agency operates under the same clear standards. The consistency matters not just for internal operations, but for how effectively we serve the broader student body. As one of the final pieces of legislation this term, this sets a strong foundation moving forward. It ensures that future leaders are building on clarity and not confusion. And for that reason, I urge your support in passing this resolution.
Are there any questions for Senator Sheikh? Thank you. Is there any discussion on SR 2526-29? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your placard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had one motion to make. Are we still in discussion or?
We are now in a period of voting.
Oh. Like,
Go for it.
okay. There's just one.
Senator Sheikh.
I move to add one last line, therefore be it further resolved clause at the end. The wording is that any instance of the, or can I, sorry, I'll start again. That any instance of the term. Yes. I'll just say it for the Senate so you can hear it, that any instance of this term, agency board within the policy index or related governing documents shall be amended to read agency council to ensure consistency with the revised governance structure.
Could you share that statement so I can put it up? Could you also share it to the VP email? Thank you.
Just the VP email or? Oh.
Is there a second for this motion? Senator Piper, is there any discussion on this motion? If there is none, all those in favor, please raise your placard. 17. All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. 1701, the motion has passed. Is there any further discussion on this resolution? All those in favor, please raise your placard. All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. 1701, the resolution has passed. Next up, SR 252630, opposition to prohibited purchase, distribution, and receiving of donations of over-the-counter medications. Is there a proponent speech?
My name is Ella Terwilliger. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a current board member of the WGEC. In 2023, the passing of the SGA resolution entitled Support for Essential Supply Program Additions allowed the WGEC to begin to distribute Plan B One Step via our Essential Supply Program. Next. Today, I'm here to discuss SLI's new policy that would prohibit the continuation of this campus resource. Found in the summer 2026 updated version of the RSO handbook, the policy states that student organizations will not be allowed to purchase, distribute, or receive donations of over-the-counter medications beginning on July 1st of this year, including emergency contraception. The final statement of this policy reads that this decision emphasizes fiscal responsibility, risk reduction, and student safety across all organization tiers. Though these factors are priorities that the WGEC and myself as an individual share with SLI and SGA, I believe that the prevention of Plan B distribution does the opposite. Next slide, please. I want to first address the concern of student safety in regard to Plan B. Plan B works by delaying the release of an egg from the ovaries, thus preventing fertilization. Plan B is a safe and effective drug which lowers chances of getting pregnant by up to 89% if taken within 3 days of unprotected sex. The American Society for Emergency Contraception found Plan to be significantly safer than other over-the-counter medications such as Tylenol, and therefore it should not be grouped into the same category. Please. There are 3 major misconceptions that are often brought up when discussing access to Plan B. The first is that Plan B acts as a medical abortion. The FDA states that there is no evidence to support that the drug affects implantation or maintenance of a pregnancy after implantation, meaning that it does not affect pre-existing pregnancies. The second is that easy, affordable access to Plan B will increase the prevalence of unsafe sex. Studies conducted by the University of Georgia found that facilitating access to Plan B does not increase sexual risk-taking behavior. The third and final misconception is that extended usage of Plan B will decrease fertility. This is proven by many organizations such as the American Society for Emergency Contraception and the World Health Organization to be untrue. Plan B leaves the body within a few days and fertility returns to its natural state as soon as the hormone wears off. Please. After discussing safety concerns, I would like to circle back to the next piece of this policy, claiming to emphasize fiscal responsibility. The WGEC does not utilize Fund A, student fees, nor any other financial resources from the university to finance the distribution of Plan B. Currently, the emergency contraception resources that the WGEC distributes are supplied through Advocates for Youth Emergency Contraception Access Network, based on a request the WGEC filed in 2023. To put this simply, the WGEC's distribution of Plan B does not place any fiscal burden on SGA nor the student body. It does the opposite by providing this essential resource free of cost for students. Next one, please. The last piece of this policy claimed to emphasize risk reduction, as the university believes that there could be legal consequences tied to the distribution of over-the-counter medications. Plan B does not require a prescription in order to be purchased or requested, which allows it to be distributed without liability concerns as long as the distributor does not provide medical or legal advice outside their accreditation, is not handing out expired medication, and has stored the medication at the recommended temperature. WGEC complies with all of these expectations, thus mitigating a large portion of the liability concerns that had been presented. Because the WGEC understands the desire to have additional measures ensuring that the university is not at legal risk due to the distribution of Plan B, the proposed resolution offers a solution that allows for the WGEC to continue distribution while providing a legal safety net for the university. This solution proposes that the WGEC be permitted to create a clearly written, explicit liability waiver for students to sign when they receive WGEC distributed Plan B. Next slide, please. This waiver would ensure that students are informed and consenting when receiving emergency contraception and would serve as an acceptance of liability by the student. WGEC is currently discussing the feasibility and legality of a waiver with various campus officials and resources, including some members of the current and future SGA executive teams. Next one, please. Moving on from the discussion of the policy itself, I want to discuss my passion for access to emergency contraception. I'm comfortable in sharing that having easy and affordable access to Plan B was a big part of the comfort and safety that I have found at UNO. Having on-campus access to Plan B made my transition into being a sexually active adult safer and more deliberate. I know that this is the case for many past and current students, and I feel partially responsible for maintaining access to this resource for future students as well. Plan B is a resource for individuals to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Unwanted or unplanned pregnancies can have devastating effects on people's lives, especially for those trying to pursue education. According to studies published by the Institute for Women's Policy Research, parenting parents are approximately twice as likely to drop out before graduation than non-parenting students, leading to possible financial and professional deficits in the future. Plan B can help students plan their family at a pace that is best for them and their needs. Any student, regardless of their identity or body, can receive and benefit from the Plan B distributed by the WGEC. Next, please. There are many factors that may serve as barriers to obtaining Plan B around the community, which highlights the need for this on-campus resource. Cost is one of the primary barriers, as Plan B costs $40 to $50 per pill at local off-campus retailers. Additionally, transportation can serve as a barrier in obtaining Plan B. Community resources, such as Access Granted, provide affordable Plan B in the Omaha area. However, students don't always have access to transportation to get to those places. Finally, Plan B is often held behind the counter or in a locked case at local pharmacies and packaged non-discreetly, increasing the likelihood that sexual stigma and shame will play a role in how individuals choose to handle their reproductive well-being. Next one, please. On April 3rd, WGEC hosted our annual Take Back the Night, which is an event dedicated to ending sexual violence and abuse of all forms. I've been thinking a lot about this mission and its connection to Plan B distribution. Prior to discussing this, I do want to give a content warning to those in the audience. I won't be discussing specific details or any singular person's experience, but I will be discussing sexual violence and the impact that it has on survivors. Please do what you need to take care of yourselves and feel free to leave the room if needed. I'm gonna take 10 seconds, so if anyone wants to leave, but also feel free to leave while I'm continuing to speak. Okay. Next slide. I believe that limiting access to Plan B without considering the impact that it may have on survivors of sexual trauma is incredibly harmful to the student body. A study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence found that 21% of undergraduate women have been raped, and an overwhelming amount of sexual assaults on campuses were reported by women or LGBTQ+ community members. Easy and affordable access to Plan B helps survivors regain control over their bodies by potentially avoiding the trauma of a pregnancy resulting from sexual assault. In a research study by the University of Michigan in 2015, it was found that survivors of sexual assault often access Plan B as their first and possibly only form of post-assault care. Free nearby access to Plan B could be critical to a survivor's recovery, and it is vital that SGA and SLI consider this when determining the importance of this research. Excellent. My goal today is to educate the members of SGA and the community about the importance of Plan B. I urge our student representatives to keep all of these factors in mind when making their decision on the WGEC's ability to distribute over-the-counter emergency contraception. During my office hours this morning, I had 7 students come into the office within an hour to grab a Plan B and to stress their support for maintaining this research on campus. I urge you all to join me in advocating for student access to Plan B and supporting student safety and well-being. Thank you.
So does WGEC provide it for free or at a reduced cost?
For free.
Are there any questions? Senator McHugh?
Would it be possible, not now, but for us to get like a chart of your usage?
Yeah, I think we have that in the WGEC. Like for people who are grabbing Plan B from, yeah, I think we have it from this semester. I don't know if Lauren will have to speak more on that and if we have it from past semesters, but I know we do have it from this semester.
Senator Clifton.
Thank you for your presentation. The relationship you guys have with Advocates for Youth, is that just for like a fiscal year you have that contract, or is it like, do you know like how long you guys have like made that agreement for?
Yeah, so in 2023, Zoe, who was the director at the time, filed with their Emergency Contraception Access Network, which is an ongoing thing. They did give us enough supplies to like maintain where we are now, so we haven't had to refile since 2023, but it's like resource that's continuous, and so it's not something that we personally, it's like an agreement with them, but it's something that they provide for different schools and resources across the community.
Awesome, thank you.
Are there any additional questions? No. Thank you so much. Is there any discussion on SR 252630? Senator Johnson?
I don't know if anyone is on the fence about this, but I do want to emphasize that the fact that this is free is incredible because a pill, if you go to CVS or Walgreens or whatever, the pill itself can be anywhere from like $50 to $70, and they sell you one pill, and that is one dose. So, even aside from all the politics around fertility and women's care and stuff, this is an incredibly important thing, and I think you can set aside, like, it's not an abortion. That's all.
Senator Clark?
I'm gonna get a little bit personal with this. One thing that I really like about this is how it's just kind of confidential. I remember going to Walmart to get a Plan B after being taken advantage of while I was under the influence, and it was locked behind one of those security things. Someone had to come unlock it. When she gave it to me, she said, "Good luck." And I'm like, that's not what I want to hear, especially after the situation that I've been in. So even if it hasn't happened to you or someone you know, just know that there's somebody out there experiencing that, and I wouldn't want that for anyone.
Senator Bishop?
I just also wanted to make a comment if anybody
think your mic
was.
is off.
It's on. I
Really?
think I'm just, yeah.
I can.
Okay, this one is on. So, if anyone is on the fence about this, I just wanted to kind of like make a comment about the statistic. If you're looking at the 21% of violence against undergraduate women, and we look at how many undergraduate women are in this room and on campus all the time, I think too many of us have stories, and especially with this resource being completely free and offering confidentiality, like I don't see a reason why we shouldn't have this resource on campus. So thank you guys for coming today to present.
Senator Mitchell?
Okay. I also wanted to say that I just feel like since we are facing the possible closure of the childcare center as well, it is so important that we make sure that we are representing all students here and that we are caring for all students here. And with the rising cost of childcare, the childcare center closing, we really need to support students on campus who may not want to have a child right now. And so I just think that we should really be considering, if anybody is on the fence about this, we should really be considering what's going on right now and how we can support all students.
Senator Lopez Pereira?
Yeah, so just to double back on that, I just want to say, what's it called? Of course, as a man, I don't really have much to say, but I just want to say, this is really important. And, as what's it called? Peers and as family who I've been around with, who have had experienced sexual assault and who I've had depending on that Plan B, this is just really important and just shows how much we really need the access of this. I already have multiple of students who know that I'm a senator, talk to me privately about their issues and concerns about, the what's it called, the removal of the Plan B. But I just think, we should just pass it. It's just my opinion.
Is there any further discussion on this resolution? Regent Lacey?
Can I seek a motion?
Sure.
I sent VP Rye this, but I would like to add a whereas and a therefore be it resolved clause. I had a talk to Lauren just a little bit about this, but we didn't have much time to talk about it. So a fear that I have with, so like the resolution, I think is great, but I think one thing that needs to be added is advocacy on how the policy should be, like if they're going to go through with this policy, my fear is their argument is going to be, well, it says that, you know, you can do all your waivers and all that, but you still, like, it's still written in policy that you cannot distribute or purchase or accept donations. So basically the whereas and therefore be it resolved clause just have to do with the appendix F that I created that has to do with it took the wording from the RSO, the proposed wording that was given out from the RSO handbook policy book, whatever. And I went and just kind of like outlined how there should be like an exception for student government and its agencies. And there's walks through like a waiver process, some additional we had talked about in our meeting that Gio and I had with Lauren and Javen, or sorry. Yes, we're just sorry. I will, I'm not gonna use your official title. I do apologize. But about like possible like mandatory FERPA training or HIPAA training, it also goes into that of like that being required as well. So like I'm just seeking a motion. You guys can read through it if you would like, but I would like to seek a motion to incorporate these into the resolution.
Is there a motion? Senator McHugh? Is there a second? Senator Melgar Serrano, is there any discussion? Senator Acosta?
I just want to read it for a second.
Yes, let me forward this to you guys. Regent Lacey?
Just something else, this appendix F does kind of just start as like a launch point. Like we can you know, if the motion goes through and it gets voted in, you know, we can of course change appendix F as needed or add to it or subtract from it. But it just kind of gives us a starting point. That's my thought process behind that.
Give me 1 second as I attempt to send this out to you. There a second?
You already said.
Yeah, we said it.
We're discussing.
Yeah, discussion and voting, but
I'm sending. Is there any further discussion? If I miss your name, please stop me. Thank you for your patience. I'll give you guys 3 minutes to read that. Senator Johnson,
This is probably a stupid question, but as I'm reading through this.
could
if
we
this-
just use the mic? I am so sorry.
Is this like a proposed amendment to the policy index? Or is it just like what's in there already?
Regent Lacey?
Yes, so this is something that hopefully advocates for the incorporation of the policy framework detailed in Appendix F into the register and into the policy. So kind of working this into what they have proposed.
Is there any further discussion on this amendment? If there isn't, all those in, bless you, all those in favor, please raise your placard. Whoa, 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. The motion has passed. 16-0-0. That's the amendment. Yes. If you could just give me a second as I copy and paste. The chair is seeking a motion to add the word further in here. Senator Piper, is there a second? Senator Jarman, is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion to add further has passed. Lacey?
Can I ask a question and like give my time to someone else to speak? Okay. I just would like Lauren as the WGEC director, like if you've had time to read through this, like I would just kind of like your input. I want this to be like a collaborative process as if there is there anything that you would like to see added, subtracted, kept it the same, just kind of want your input on that as well.
Yeah, can you give me like 5 minutes to read it?
Yeah,
I am a
sorry.
slow
I know that
reader,
we're
but
running through this quickly. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you're good. If anyone has any other like questions or discussion, please feel free to discuss. Give me 8:55. I will be back to you. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know how quick it will take me to read.
Senator Lopez Pereira,
I motion to groove for 5 minutes.
is there a second? Senator Piper, is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion to move to group for 5 minutes has passed. I believe Director Capri, you were asked your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, I looked it over and I don't have any concerns with anything that's written here. I especially appreciate that it's written in here that it's not only Plan B, but also generic equivalents, just because we don't always know in the future, like if it's going to be Plan B, if it's going to be Julie or other kind of brands. And I think I also really appreciate the alternative to wellness support too, because I think there's other, while we WGEC are requesting this for Plan B, there's other student groups that might be interested in distributing other products like Narcan, for example. That was something that actually WGEC thought of pursuing. But we have other things to deal with right now. But yeah, I think I don't have any concerns, and I think that having the FERPA and the HIPAA training are also a really good way to, because our concern with that, with the waiver is, okay, students sign a waiver. How do we know if a student did or didn't sign it prior to like us giving it to them, other than if they were like to handwrite it? So then they would either have to re-sign it every time they show up, or how would we access that information? And so then that would be technically an invasion of students' privacy, because then we would have access to like student records. And so that's what I kind of talked about with Drew, Gio, and JJ. And so we, that was kind of the purpose of that FERPA and HIPAA training. Yeah, I don't think I have any additional thoughts. Do any of you, after reading it, have any additional? Yeah,
Senator Johnson.
Is this only for Plan B? And is that like our main concern, or are we also talking about like Tylenol, ibuprofen, those kind of drugs? Because I think those are also like useful. Obviously, this is the most controversial one, I guess, but would other over-the-counters be included in this amendment / resolution? Or should we add it? Should we not?
Regent Lacey, do you have an answer?
I think to answer your question specifically, I wrote it in that it just addresses the Plan B problem, but again, like I said, that this just serves as a starting point. So if we want to look at those, again, that's kind of your guys' prerogative to add or change it, add additions in any way, that you guys see fit. But just this Plan B is just kind of where we started our conversation, and if we need to pivot our conversation to include or expand or not pivot, sorry, expand the conversation to include other things, we can happy to work that in as well.
Senator McHugh, could we please use the mic?
Could we also expand this to include birth control?
I am not aware of the answer.
Or like funding for it?
Is advisor, sorry, Director Capri, someone will have to yield their time. Senator Jarman.
You mind time?
That's something that we're not currently wanting to pursue, but that's similar to what Drew was saying, is that in the future, we're definitely wanting to expand the products and resources. I think our main focus right now is trying to stay a hold of the resources that we've already been provided, but that's something that I would definitely be willing to explore. And if that's something in the future, if you remain senator, any role at the university, even just as a student, having those conversations and figuring out if there is a way to pursue that. But at the moment, no. And I think right now, just for this resolution, it's just the Plan B.
Senator Johnson.
Kind of on that point, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember seeing an Instagram post that WGEC was distributing Opal, which is the over-the-counter birth control. No?
Director Capri, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, we do not distribute Opal. I think, and I can look back, to my knowledge, we have never distributed. I think we have
Oh, thanks. It's so we're supporting access granted. Like in our post, we're just like, hey, here's OPIL, go get it, but we're not the ones distributing it, if that makes sense.
Is there any further discussion on this resolution? If there is none, all those in favor, please raise your placard. This is on the overall resolution. The amendment has already passed. All those in favor of the overall resolution, please raise your placard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is my math wrong? All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. 1601, the resolution has passed. Is there a need for executive session? No? Perfect. Okay, I know we don't do good of the order, but because this is our last meeting and this is a tradition from my previous Senate, the previous Senate's vice president started this. We're gonna do popcorn, and I want you to call on someone in the room and share something positive about them. I'll start it off. Gio, thank you for always making us laugh. Gio.
Do we have to address them by senator? Okay. Mine is going to Taylor McHugh. Thank you for just being so knowledgeable in literally everything. I feel like anything we have to bring up, you're just always there with a placard raised, ready to drop some knowledge that we did not know about. So thank you for that.
Oh, sorry.
What? Okay. Mine's gonna go to Lillian just because she's really positive and she's just really, she brings a lot of energy to the room.
Mine's gonna go to Ellery. You always just look so cool and I've always wanted to talk to you, but I feel like I never have, and I just think you're really cool.
Okay, likewise to Lillian, first of all. This is like a little weird, but like I used to see you walking in Elmwood last year, I think, and my roommate and I would like talk about your hair. Like, oh my God, I saw the best colored hair, the best dyed hair. Anyway, but then my shout out, there are a lot of people I could do low-key, but I'm just gonna shout out Izzy because like I did know her outside of the Senate, like kind of, but she's just been like super friendly and like, I don't know, we're just like closer friends than I expected to be in the short amount of time. I'm thankful for that.
My shout out is to Johnny for helping with budget.
My shout out is Senator Shake. There's a whole story about how we met. It was kind of funny. But I won't bore you with the time, but he's a great person to talk to. Definitely a lifelong friend that I've met during student government. So
Sorry, that is loud. Mine goes to, well, there's again many people, but I'll give it to Audrey, our Senator Bishop. She has stuck along it with me in my committee for the longest. A very reliable member of my committee, very friendly, and I didn't know I was her coworker kind of too in my new job that I took. Just one of the best senators we have.
That was so nice. I'm gonna shout out Brooklyn because she's not here. She always shares her snacks with me, so that's amazing. And I'm gonna shout out Jocelyn, you are here. We always just have a nice light conversation before And it kind of like clears my head before we get into some more serious or painful discussions. So thank you.
My shout out goes to Sophia. It was between me and her to be chair, and she took it upon herself, and like, just she's really great at it. So yeah.
I'm gonna shout out Clancy. I think you're really inspirational. Whenever you speak, it is just it gives me like hope, and I really like the way that you present yourself and your ideas and your passion. I think sometimes I feel like really like existential about everything, and so like I think there's real like beauty in somebody who's able to imagine a better world. I think we deal a lot with like logistics and things like that, and sometimes reality or like what current reality is like really scary, but having imagination for like what the possibility of like a new future can look like, especially in our direct community, is like such a power. So I can't wait to see what you do on Senate next year.
First of all, thank you. That was so sweet. Oh my goodness. I just I want to give a shout out to, can I give like two? I want to give a shout out to Senator Javen over there. I think I've had communications with him inside Senate, outside Senate, both times. He's been very, very friendly. And also I just really like his approach. He's very direct. He is just very inspirational for me. Kind of struggle with confrontation, and he's got that shit figured out. I also want to thank Director Hills as well. I think she's just been a very good support system for just everybody. She's just a cutesy little bubble.
We will go to Javen.
I want to shout out actually Senator Piper. She to me feels like an older sister. I've known her since my freshman year. Rosie was in FYLC. That's how I got introduced to Kyra, and she's just like I can ask her. I feel any question. Probably might not need to be asking so many questions, but she's so willing to just work with me and talk to me about anything, and she's very just honest about it. And sometimes honesty is really needed when you're asking things that you're not really sure like how you're feeling about it. So just her willingness to work with everyone, and also like how comfortable she is as a person, was very like inspirational.
Okay, I've actually like been crying as you guys are talking, so let's hope I don't cry during this. My shout out's gonna go to Isabella. I feel like you've grown significantly, not only in DEIA, but also as a senator in your role. And I cannot wait to see what you do overall in general. I think you have a great voice and you use it when it's needed. Yeah.
Thank you. That was very kind. I'm going to give a shout out to Senator Lopez Pereira, just because I feel like the things that people are afraid to talk about, he always talks about, and that sort of thing should not be shied away and discredited in the positions that we're in. And so I just want to give you some respect and props.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. That means everything to me. That's always been the struggle before joining SGA of just finding my voice. And I feel like, through me, what's it called? Through my Senate role, I've been able to find my voice. And yeah. I'm gonna go to Kale. He's been always been very, open, very kind. And I love how he always comes politically educated and is very, on top about what's going on. So yeah.
Thank you. This is gonna be kind of long-winded, but you'll deal with it.
I just want to shout out all of you. I will shout out someone individually at the end, but coming into this, I met Colby, sent out that good mass email convincing me to join the budget commission. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I had kind of that negative connotation of student government of like, they don't really do anything. I don't want to get involved, blah, 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 blah. But after joining and getting to know all of you, it's been really cool to just see how dedicated each and every one of you are. I haven't gotten an impression from anyone that they're here just for a resume title, etc. And I value that. And I know a lot of you aren't in politics or whatever, but I hope leaving this, especially for our graduating people, that you consider staying involved with your community because you've been in training for years now of what it's like to be a representative of your people. And I hope that none of you ever lose that, whether it's getting involved in city, state, whatever, or joining me in the Young Democrats. That would be spectacular. But and also I want to say too, like I know I didn't run for re-election or anything, but I really did enjoy my time. I will continue to stay involved as I move on or move through UNO. So won't be the last. Some of y'all hear from me, so thank you. Thanks Drew and Aditi for also asking me to consider being appointed, and thank you all for voting for me because even though I wasn't elected in the first place, all of you approved it. Thank you to all the directors that I've gotten to know pretty well and bond over. But individually, I want to shout out Mallory. I have known her since middle school. We both grew up in Kearney, and she has always been such a personable and kind human being. And we hung out a lot for a while in high school, and kind of life split us up, but it's been really great being able to reconnect with you. And I think you bring a lot of that personality and great kindness to SGA, and it's a great asset. So.
Thank you, Kale. Almost got me crying over here. Okay. I wanted to, say thank you guys as well. I did not know what student government even did, and so I'm so glad that Lily was like, "Hey, you should come do this." So I did, and it has been so much fun. I loved getting to go to iHeart NU Day. I loved getting to set up the gala, getting to be part of outreach. Like this is so much fun. So I'm so glad that you guys are all so amazing. And you guys work so hard. Like I hope you know it does not go unnoticed. So I wanted to shout out Lily. She is always doing stuff for other people, like literally in everything. Like every time I have a problem or anything, like she's always there to help me out. So I'm very grateful to have somebody like her in my corner. So thank you, Lily.
Well, thank you, Mallory. That's so sweet. I wanted to shout out Director Rhodes. He came in late in student government, but he learned his policy index and bylaws super fast, and he's done a great job of enforcing that. And I just think it's inspiring how into student government you are, even though you haven't had that much time in it.
Thank you. I would like to shout out two people, or two groups. I'd like to shout out before you leave, WGEC, who's came and supported. It's really inspiring how passionate you are about this, advocating for your own group as well as the students. So we all support you. Just want to let you know that. The second person is coordinator of student engagement, Motohiro. I've gotten to know him a little bit. Every once in a while, we have a nice conversation. We had one at the exec panel, and it was nice to meet somebody in exec. And like Lily said, I'm kind of new to student government, so talking to people and meeting people is what I like. And I had a really nice conversation with him. So it was nice to talk to you.
Appreciate it.
Um,
So, thank you. And my shadow is Mr. Corey. So actually, it was my like first semester. Like I totally don't get it. Like anything for as a coordinators. Like I even don't like how's going on. Like how should I do? But he was sitting for the appointment for the 2 weeks and talk to the more like and the following up for the any directions and that was really helpful for me and like a list for the outcome, but it could be like connected to the next step for the next semester. So um I do appreciate it for the Corby.
Thank you, Motohiro. If Moses had not shouted you out, I would have myself actually. That was my plan, so stole my thunder. But I will say, I really enjoyed working with the coordinators of student engagement in particular, Alexis Sip and Motohiro, but Gio as well, who's kind of overseen them in terms of, that's a position that was created by executive memorandum. And so those positions have really worked, very hard and very closely with me on the events that they have planned. And so, I really, like I mentioned earlier, some of the behind the scenes things that you all do are very important, but I think the coordinators in particular. And so I have to pass this off to someone. So I will also say that Director of DEIA, Alice Steffens, and I have also worked very closely. We co-supervise the agency directors. And so lots of hours spent in those meetings. And so I appreciate all her work, sharing those responsibilities with me.
Thank you, Colby. And I'm not gonna lie, those meetings are really long and tedious, so not totally gonna miss them. I'm kidding. I'm gonna pass it off to somebody on the DEA committee who I feel like does a lot of hard work, but doesn't always get recognized and who I really appreciate and shares a lot of personal stuff. And I feel like that's really brave. And I'm really proud of how amazing they have been over the past Senate. So Miles, thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm not gonna lie. When I applied for Student Senate, I was like, yeah, why not? I won't get voted. And then I got voted and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like lock in. And I really have enjoyed it as much as a, throwaway that my initial application was. I did really enjoy being here and I feel like I have a lot more appreciation for governing bodies because it's not easy in here. I haven't been paying attention to who hasn't gotten one yet.
There is Chica, Sadio, Drew, Chloe, Lauren, Ella, and then Deepa.
I want to shout out Chica because I remember you first coming in and giving your proponent speech. I felt you were very confident. You knew what you wanted and you just fit in right away. Like you came in and you knew exactly what you wanted and what you wanted to do. And it's been very nice having you and getting to speak with you when we have the chance, because I think just overall, you're a very amazing person.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Bumping some bikes.
Okay, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate. First and foremost, I want to say that it's been very, very, very exciting and amazing for me because being into leadership for more than 10, 15 years at different capacities. But when I came into the Senate, I had to humble myself. I don't talk. I listen. I was understanding everybody. For the very first time, you all are amazing. All the deliberations, I listen, I don't talk, but I was speaking everything one step at a time. Sincerely, I don't really know who to spot out, but generally, every one of you, you are too much. You're wonderful, you're awesome, and sincerely, I've learned a lot from you all. In my past experience, having diversities of students and people, and most importantly, the passion that you all use in deliberating on issues, oh my God, I don't know how to really quantify, but I just want to say that it's been wonderful working with every one of you. I've been so quiet. I don't talk. I don't raise my hands and all that. It's deliberate because as a leader, there's a point you get to in your life where you want to learn. I've been teaching others for more than so many years. So this time around, I wanted to learn something new. I wanted to get a different perspective. And to the glory of God, you all have given that to me. So in this, my second tenor, I believe God is going to be more different and more engaging. So once again, I want to say I love you all. I thank you all for teaching me. You all are wonderful. And I'm going to pass this to Sadia. Thank you.
I was gonna say Hafsa, but she's not here. So I'll say Deepika. Deepika?
Deepa?
Deepa, sorry, yeah.
Oh, so
Um,
sweet.
When you came the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sad after you came to speak for Open Forum. So yeah, keep going, girl.
Everybody here is so sweet, and I appreciate that. I feel like you guys I feel like people here see a different face of me because I feel like if you see me in public, I'm gonna be like, "Hi, cutie," and then I'm gonna hug you, and then like with consent, of course. But then here I'm like, "Fuck, freak you, freak that, freak everybody." So I promise, don't take it too personally. But it's hard choosing between Ella and Lauren, who I want to, because genuinely. I'm so sad that Ella, you're leaving. So I think I'm gonna do you, but Lauren, I'll give you my little thing later. It was the first time like I met you in the office and we shared office hours together, and just immediately I was like, this girl gets it. Like it was like nobody else has made me feel this comfortable to be myself, like my neurodivergent, crazy, wild self, other than Ella. And Ella extends that open-mindedness and acceptance to everybody, and radicalness and craziness, and like you can tell her anything and she won't judge you. She's just such an inspiration and just a kind individual soul who I'm really sad I won't be able to share another office hour with next year. So I love you, girl. You're like the blackberry to my tangerine.
You're very sweet, Deepa. I love you so much.
I love you.
Okay, Lauren, I'm sure you knew this was coming when Deepa said my name, but you've been an amazing director. I feel like for so long I haven't really engaged in my passions and like the things that I feel like are important because I was scared to speak up. And I feel like you do a really good job of like encouraging people to speak their mind and encouraging them to maybe take steps that they were uncomfortable taking. I know I told you I was incredibly nervous for this, and like you gave me a lot of inspiration and a lot of passion, and I had that passion and like stuff in me, but I think you did a really good job of drawing it out, and you do that for everyone. Even people who aren't on the board, you saw that with Take Back the Night in your speech, and I mean, you do it all the time and you fight for the things you believe in, and I think that's really important. So I'm really glad you're director.
I'm gonna try not to cry too. Goodness, embarrassing. Ooh. Okay, who has not been popcorn? Because honestly, I have good things to say about everyone. Okay. Okay, anyways, Drew. You and I have had a lot of different conversations this semester, and I think, and I'll be fully honest and transparent, there have been some frustrations, right? But I also know that at the end of the day, you're a human being and it's not just you, right? It's the system, it's the name of the game. And I think despite all of that, you have really rose up to the challenge and really been a leader for the student body. I think, like despite some of the challenges that have happened, you have still made sure that like no matter what, we're gonna find a solution to things. And that's not just with WGEC, that is from what I've observed with every challenge that SJA has encountered, that you have been there and been dedicated to figuring out how we can get things done. And that's something that I really admire about you. And I think, yeah.
Thank you, Lauren. Sorry, Lauren Caffrey. And then sorry, I just wanted, yeah, thank you. Thank you both. I am gonna call on Chloe. I'm gonna try not to cry, but I first met Chloe. I first joined SGA because after my grandpa passed away, I wanted to join SGA, and it kind of filled my mind with things. And Chloe, oh my God, has been there for literally everything for me. Oh my God, Chloe, don't. Actually, I have to step away because if I hear her cry. Um, literally through everything in my life, Chloe has been there, whether it's a phone call at 3 a.m. or, we're driving around getting ice cream, talking about life. And, life isn't easy for any of us. Like, let's be completely honest, especially right now. And Chloe has always just been there to just be like a shoulder to cry on or like someone to talk to. And like Chloe and I just really get each other when it comes to like literally everything. And I'm so thankful for her work and dedication, not only to, the student body, but also to student government and like the glorious ways that she is involved. And I swear to God, literally everything. And I love you, Chloe.
Thank you. That was very nice. I'll tell you my thoughts later, so we're not here all day. But Lauren, we haven't worked too much together this past year, but seeing you grow as a leader, and your role specifically has been remarkable. I know when I first joined SGA, the Director of Leadership Development role was something I was looking at, but I didn't think I had, what's the word I'm looking for? I just didn't think I could do it. So seeing you do it and like take that on, you've killed it. The FYLC members are great. They love you. And you did your big one. So
I'm gonna shout out Aditi. I will say like even just first time meeting you like in that interview for it, I was nervous, but immediately like greeted with you and your NGO and everything. I knew it was a team I wanted to be a part of, and yeah, I've really enjoyed this opportunity you guys have given to me. So thank you.
I also want to shout out Aditi real quick. I had the opportunity to chair a portion of the meeting last week, and I thought I was doing really good. And then I was very overwhelmed. I don't know how Aditi does this every business meeting. So huge shout out to her. And I'm so excited that you have SGA next year. I think they're in very good hands. So thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Jarman, is there a second? Senator Piper? Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your placard. All those opposed, please raise your placard. All those abstaining, please raise your placard. The 2025-2026 Student Senate has adjourned at 9:32 p.m. Please take your placards, please take everything, otherwise it will be trashed tomorrow.
Honestly, you haven't seen this. I feel like. I was about to say. I love you, buddy, on you. Exactly. I'm still following you, but that's like all like also, I think it is so funny. I thought so I feel like a quick minute over the minute. Bro, I haven't looked at my LinkedIn in like 2 years. I love I like the Buffalo like, I'm crazy people like that. Okay, how are you?